Midwest Media Zone coming at you. I got my partner in crime, Out of Control Troll. This is Bloodfist, aka the J Deal, coming back at you. What did you think about this Timothy Bradley fight, bro?
Man, it was a beautiful fight. It's good to see Tim get what he got coming to him, and that's championship elite status. Everybody who was talking shit about Timothy Bradley, everybody that put him down, for whatever reason it was, you need to apologize to that man in a nice, long video and appreciate this man's skills for what he showed the world tonight.
For a man who eats a lot of green vegetables and supposedly not have protein, I must say, after them kale smoothies, Timothy Bradley showed some power tonight. And he was in that zone. And he won more than 6 rounds. I say he won 7 to 8 rounds in that fight. I mean, his rhythm offset. Marquez is resetting where he could throw punches. He made Marquez the effective aggressor at times. He kept Marquez off balance where Marquez was more in the defensive than he was countering and be on the offensive. Now, later rounds, Marquez did go to the body more to set up some lead forward shots with his leading foot. But at the end, Tim made him look slow, made him look pedestrian, and Tim rocked him 2 different times in that fight where Marquez could have got knocked down either way. We didn't see too much of that with Timothy Bradley, and for a fighter that just had a brutal roar back in March, looked like to me he is not a damaged goods fighter. He ain't on that Magic Taylor level right now. So kudos to Bradley. He showed us what his skills were about. He showed us how he should have fought back in March. And you know what? Despite the crowd hating and one judge giving it to Marquez, some of them rounds were even. Other rounds, Bradley just gave it to Marquez. Overall, I gave Marquez 4 rounds, possibly. But I still had Bradley win that fight. And Bradley looked good compared to what most people thought he was going to look like.
It was an excellent fight, man. He completely neutralized Marquez with a half a step back. The footwork completely neutralized Marquez, coupled with the crisp, very effective jab, very
Yes.
active jab throughout all the rounds.
Yes.
Very active.
My my other thing was Timothy Bradley at times looked sloppy, but he didn't look as sloppy throwing his punches too wide that I'm accustomed to. And he took away Marquez's range half of the fight by moving to his left or moving to his right to neutralize any power shots Marquez was trying to do. And he used that headbutt, Tro. He used that headbutt.
It wasn't enough, man. I was surprised that when Bradley came on the inside, where I thought he would be dominant, Marquez was actually the dominant fighter on the inside, throwing combinations to get Tim Bradley right out of there. So Tim changed it up, stuck with the jab. In and out was the key. In, do your work, come right back out. Marquez couldn't find him all night. And not to mention the jab to the body. That was very effective as well. And he just kept Marquez off balance with it.
I think Bradley used Mayweather's game plan. The only problem is he don't have the arm reach that Mayweather has, nor the offensive arsenal that Mayweather has, or the precise punching. He's not as accurate, but at the same time, Bradley still fought his fight, and most of the fight we saw Bradley fought at his pace, fought with his strategy. Now, when Marquez adjusted, that's when the fight got tighter, but Tim still made him look bad by foot speed and by accuracy. But both of them weren't landing too many punches. But it was times in the fight where Bradley was just landing more effective clean shots than Marquez. Now, of course, people are going to think Marquez landed heavy shots because of the crowd, and sometimes it sounded like his shots hurt. But most of the time, it was hitting Bradley's arms, elbows, shoulders, or partially around his head or something, or the back of his ear. But most of the time, the technique, Timothy Bradley took away most of the middle offense that Marquez was trying to do, and that stiff double fast jab to the head, targeting to the body, the left hook, and at times when he did the Mayweather posture, landing that right hand, it was beautiful.
The Mayweather posture confused Marquez. He was very tentative with his offense at that point, and I was shocked to see that. I thought Marquez would be first, A lot of the times, Bradley was first for the majority of the fight, and near the end of the fight, Marquez started being first, but that was more out of desperation. He was reaching, he was lunging, he couldn't find Tim. He found himself out of position a lot, and that's when Tim took off the gas. And I was kind of disappointed that he didn't show the discipline of a Mayweather or the maturity of an elite fighter to really take those rounds to Marquez and not just win on inactivity, because he gave away the last 2 rounds, in my opinion.
I mean, the last impression is that left hook that almost knocked Marquez down. So you tell me what the casual boxing fans gonna say who won the last round by that, by them
Well,
going by punches.
yeah, I mean, it was impressive. But the real impressive part about that punch was Marquez being able to hold his balance, similar to Mayweather judo. Just by being able to hold your balance, you could possibly change history, and that was a great thing that Marquez done.
Do this also remind you of the Mayweather fight, the last Mayweather fight, where did you notice they tried to stir up the crowd, giving it to Marquez on that first scorecard? Almost remind you of how they did Floyd. And you saw Tim's reaction.
Um, yeah, I was looking for the robbery, but I scored the fight objectively, and depending on how someone else could score it could possibly have been a draw. Depending on how they scored the fight, it could have possibly been a draw. I had it 7-5. Let me run that down real quick. First round, Bradley. Second round, Bradley. Third and fourth, Marquez. Fifth round, Bradley. 6-7, Bradley. Let me see. Eight round, Marquez. Ninth round could have went either way. And I'm sure with the CompuBox, two
It,
rounds could
they
have went.
landed even in that round.
Okay, yeah, that was the one that was real close to me, because I didn't pay attention to CompuBox when I scored the fight. Bradley won round number 10. He loosened up. He looked real good in 10. Bradley started bullshitting in the 11th and the 12th, and I gave those rounds to Marquez.
Still competitive rounds, right?
Not really. It's like you could, from the beginning and the crisp jab and the work that Bradley put in, you could tell that was a different fighter in the 11th and 12th. He knew he had the fight in the bag, and it showed. And that's a huge mistake that Bradley made, and it almost cost him the fight.
Now I wanted to say something else, man. Zone 6, man. How you look right now, man?
Mm.
I'm not calling you out on a bad note, but I'm just saying I told you, son. I told you, son. I told you how the fight was going to go. Despite Bradley not getting what he wanted with them drug tests, and you making fun of Bradley of his dieting and how to prepare for power and shit, look who looked hurt in that fight after the fight.
Mm.
And I'm gonna tell you this, man. You said Juan Manuel Marquez is one of the best finishers in boxing, right? How does he look usually against black fighters, man?
Good point.
How did his rhythm look against a brother? And then another thing, Zone 6, I've noticed in one of your videos, you had Bradley ahead of Marquez in your pound for pound. So does that sound like you're hedging your bets? I think behind the scenes you put $100 on Bradley and you won a lot of fucking money tonight, nigga. Hey, I ain't hating on the brother making his money, but come on, bro, you hedge your bets, man.
Well, it's been quite a few guys who haven't had positive things to say about Timothy Bradley up until this point,
They thought he was damaged goods. That's the thing.
but I'm pretty sure that they will at least acknowledge their mistake. I won't say apologize, but at least acknowledge their mistake in their next post, because honestly, an apology is due for bashing that man Timothy Bradley, because he handled his business. He beat Pacquiao. He had a war Provodnikov. He beat Marquez. What more do you want from a champion?
Now, despite Bradley saying he's number 3 before the fight and after the fight, by resume, by opponents, and by division, by how they've been fighting, who you got number 2 pound for pound?
Now, from before this fight, I've said it previously in other videos. If he handles Marquez convincingly, Timothy Bradley will be number 2 pound for pound in the world. And I stick with that. But here's the thing. And we all need to, as fans, we need to look at this. When a boxer says out of his own mouth that he considers Andre Ward to be pound for pound on another notch than he is, we have to take that boxer's word for it. Even though I may think Tim Bradley is the number 2 pound for pound, we have to put him in number 3 because that's where Tim puts himself.
The humility, but I think he's starting to go Hollywood and embrace this hate. He was like, come on, yeah, motherfuckers, boo my ass. Yeah, yeah. He was getting an orgasm off that shit, man.
Now, that may be the case, but if he was full blown Hollywood, he would have definitely said he was number 2, possibly even number 1 after this
That
victory.
KRS-One shit.
Hey, Tim is grounded. He's grounded. I think he can throw that humility to the side.
Did you see how confident he looked come to the corner after the last round with his dad? Like, yeah. Like, they just scored a fucking touchdown or some shit.
A little too much so. I think he should have did a little bit more work in 11 and 12 because they could have robbed him for doing what he did in those last
But like Kellerman and them said, that last suppression where Marquez almost got knocked the fuck down.
That was it. That was in an exchange. That was out of Marquez's desperation, and he opened up and threw those punches to make that punch available. So it might have been a last impression, but I mean, he was losing that round convincingly.
My question with this fight was, Timothy Bradley has put on a lot of weight due to stress and letting himself go, and it took him a while to get back to the normal size that he's accustomed to. He came in there at 154. Marquez came in 150, the heaviest he ever been in a fight. I think because Bradley been putting on weight and cutting down, I think it kind of fucked up his endurance. Because I think around 10, the brother was just tired, man. He was fatigued.
Well, there you go, right there. You said it right there with the 4-pound difference being 154 and Bradley coming in. Now you have the haters re-embracing the 2-pound difference between Marquez and Mayweather. Oh, he's too big. He outweighed Marquez by 2 pounds. So if this is double being 4 pounds, so maybe some of those haters will be able to discredit Bradley with a weight issue.
Now, yeah, I'm hyping Timothy Bradley the fuck up because who else is going to do it? If Provodnikov knocks Mike Alvarado the fuck out next week on HBO, this makes Timothy Bradley's claim to fame and resume even stronger, man.
Even better.
And hey, I wouldn't mind seeing Provodnikov and Bradley get it on again just to prove a point.
Man, well, that's a dangerous point to be proven. I think he dug deep enough for that fight. And if Provodnikov continues to win his fights and Bradley continues to win, I think they could both live parallel, parallel destiny, so to speak.
One more question, bro, before we get out of here. Who looked better against Marquez in their first fight? Pacquiao or Bradley?
Oh, Bradley. Pacquiao was schooled for the second half of the fight. There was no schooling in this fight at all on Marquez's side. Not at all.
And despite Bradley fighting a little bit like Mayweather, Mayweather could do what he does because he got better reflexes, more technically sound, and most importantly all, that arm reach, bro.
Yeah, that reach was magnificent. Also, Marquez didn't fight like the taller man.
Yeah, he 5'7", right?
Yeah, he was a little 1 inch taller than Tim, but he had 2-inch reach. Tim had 2-inch reach on him.
Bradley's landed 30% overall. Marquez 34% all. Marquez landed more power shots than Bradley by 60 punches, but Bradley's jab output and connection ratio was pretty good, and Bradley landed 30% of his punches. But overall, Bradley outworked Marquez in most rounds, and I think he fought mostly his fight. He made Marquez look frustrated. Marquez eye was fucked up half of the fight, and Marquez got desperate. At times he looked good. Most times, in spurts, Bradley looked good, and other times he couldn't do nothing with Bradley. So
it's cool for a payday for Marquez, but like I said before, I think he should have retired on top after the devastation of Manny Pacquiao.
That's what Bradley said, bro.
Hey, I said it previously, and Bradley said it too, so at least he agreed with me on that one. But that's what I think he should have done. But at this point, He can continue to fight for checks. He has nothing else to prove. I think he should just walk out into the sunset. It wasn't a devastating loss, so I think he should retire.
Agreed. All right, we out. Midwest Media Zone.
Peace.